Hey, in today's lesson, we are talking about 10 tips for adult English learners to become more confident when communicating in English. So, if confidence is something you struggle with, this lesson is for you. Let's go. Now, if you are someone who lacks confidence when speaking in English, when communicating in English, first of all, you are not alone. This is a very common challenge. In fact, it's one of the most common challenges among all English learners or language learners for that matter. And the good news is that there are steps you can take, there are things you can do to build your confidence like any other skill. All right? So let's jump into the first point. First up, you want to start small. If you have little or no confidence, of course, you can't go from 0 to 100. You need to take steps in order to build and develop your confidence, right? So you want to start off with small, shorter, simpler conversations and exchanges. Even things like ordering food, asking for directions, asking for help, asking for information. All of these things can be done in English. Nowadays, we have the luxury of getting a lot of information online or chatting with someone or messaging a business on WhatsApp, right? But we still have the option to make a phone call or to talk to someone face to face in most cases, right? So next time you find yourself in a situation in which you can send a message, send an email, write in a chat, but you have the option to speak to someone to get information, make sure that you take advantage of that opportunity and use that opportunity. It might seem small, but small steps are better than no steps, right? So you want to start off by having those little conversations. And as you become more comfortable and confident with these routine conversations, you can build your way up to longer and more complicated conversations and discussions. So start off small. Any small progress still counts. Okay, our next point is to focus on communication rather than perfection. So focus more on the clarity of your communication, making sure your message comes across the way that you want it to, making sure people understand you, instead of getting everything perfect. Of course, we don't want to make mistakes when we're speaking. That's natural, that's normal, but mistakes are part of the learning process. I know that making mistakes can sometimes hurt your confidence. However, if you learn to shift your mindset, to change your way of thinking a little bit and focus more on your message and your communication itself, this will help to boost your confidence because you are no longer focusing in on your mistakes, all right? When you are obsessing about your grammar, your vocabulary, making sure everything is perfect and everything is correct, basically you're kind of zeroing in or really focusing on your mistakes. And naturally, this will hurt your confidence. Whereas when you just focus on whether the other person understands you, this is going to build or boost your confidence because you are getting your message across. And that is subconsciously an accomplishment. So to sum up here, you really want to learn to focus on your message. Make sure you're focusing on getting your message across and don't worry so much about your mistakes. Now, I know that in some cases, mistakes matter more than others. For example, at work, if you are doing a formal presentation, let's say. And in cases like that, hopefully you would have had enough time to prepare and practice, so you won't really be making mistakes anyway. But let's say in natural, casual, day-to-day conversations, or when you're having an interesting discussion with someone, or when you're trying to share your opinion, focus more on being present, being engaged, being involved, and getting your message across clearly and understanding the other person as well. Next, you want to visualize or imagine your success. Now, I know that this one sounds a little bit general, a little bit abstract. You can't just imagine yourself being successful and then you're successful. Of course not. This is more about thinking that your conversation or your communication or your presentation or whatever is going to go well. okay? Rather than thinking, oh my God, I'm so stressed, I'm so nervous, this is gonna be terrible, I'm gonna be terrible. If you think this way and you go into a conversation this way, of course you are setting yourself up to fail because you have created a situation in which you are extra stressed for no reason. Okay, so instead, what you want to do is calm yourself down before you have a discussion or a conversation, okay? Get yourself in the mindset that, you know what, I'm gonna do my best, I'm gonna focus on my message, I'm going to get my message across to the other person clearly. What this will do, it will help to calm your nerves and get you started in the conversation in a much more relaxed, calm way where you're more in control. Okay, so basically, you want to really believe that the conversation is going to go well rather than believing it's going to go badly before you even start. You're stressing yourself out, setting yourself up to fail, and of course, the result will hurt your confidence. Now, our next point applies not only to English, but I think to all areas of life. And this is to use positive self-talk, to talk positively about yourself. Now, I believe that there is power in the words that we use to talk about others and to talk about ourselves. Okay. And a lot of times I've heard from many of my students or people in general that my English is not good, my English is bad, I am bad at English, sorry for my English. Now, thinking and saying statements like this is also going to hurt your confidence. It's like you are reconfirming constantly how bad you are at something, okay? If your English isn't where you want it to be, saying how bad it is all the time is not going to help it improve. It's not going to make you more confident. It's not going to boost your language skills. It's basically doing absolutely nothing for you other than making you feel bad and therefore hurting your confidence. Now, it's not just a matter of saying, okay, my English is great if your English is not great. You don't have to do that. But you can, again, reframe your way of thinking. Instead of saying, my English is not good, my English is bad, say to yourself, whether you say it out loud or in your mind, you can say to yourself, I am making progress with my English. My English is improving. I'm working hard on my English. I'm proud of how far I've come with my English, okay? So even if your English is not perfect, it's not exactly where you want it to be, you can always take a moment and look back to see where you started from and the progress that you've made. And this will help to boost your confidence. Of course, when we achieve our goals, when we make progress, this is when we feel more confident. Naturally, we don't feel confident with anything that we're not good at, right? So instead of telling yourself constantly how bad you are, you want to focus on the progress that you are making, the efforts that you are making, and the improvements that you are seeing. And this will help to boost your confidence. Another great way to boost your confidence with English is to join a supportive community. Now, a supportive community can look different for different people depending on where you are, depending on what is accessible to you, depending on your lifestyle. Now, if you're able to join a group, join a class, join a language exchange, that's fantastic. Not everyone is able to do that. You might be able to join an online community of English learners as well. Now, the benefit of this is that you're able to speak more freely and be less self-conscious, less worried about your English or being perfect because everyone else is on the same page. Everyone else is in the same boat as you. As well, if you join a class or if you have a teacher, of course, a huge part of our role and our job is also to encourage you and to provide this support for you as you're learning. Now, this might not seem like a big deal, but I can tell you firsthand that it really is. When you are learning anything new, any new skill, and you want to become more confident, having support around you, having a community or a group of people, or even one person that believes in you, that supports you, really goes a long way. I have been in situations where I have not had support and I didn't realize the negative effect until much later. Unfortunately, we don't all have the luxury of having support from our family or our friends, even though that would be ideal in a perfect world. And if you don't have that around you already, you can find that community, even if it's online. Next, you want to prepare and practice whenever possible. So whether you are having a casual conversation with someone, you're meeting up with someone socially, you have a job interview coming up, you have a social event, you are networking, you have an interview, whatever the case may be, you can always do a little bit of preparation and practice before. You can think about topics that you want to discuss. You can think of questions, answers, things you might say. You can practice talking about topics that you often forget or things that you find difficult to speak about. You can always practice at a time. And naturally, the more prepared you are for any situation, the easier it will be and the more comfortable and confident you will feel. Okay, so even if it's something like a meeting or a presentation at work and you know the subject matter, but maybe you get a little nervous because of your English skills, you might want to practice ahead of time. Okay, the more prepared we are, the less nervous we are, and the more confident we feel. Next, it's very important to learn to accept and embrace mistakes. Now, nobody likes making mistakes. Nobody wants to make mistakes, of course, myself included. I don't love mistakes, but I do understand and accept the fact that mistakes are a big part of any learning process, okay, including English. Now, we learn through our mistakes. We have all made mistakes in school as students. Maybe when we started new jobs, we've made mistakes, whether big or small. It's just a part of life. It's a part of the learning process. Now, it's how we react and respond to our mistakes that matters. This is what's important. It doesn't matter if you make 100 mistakes. It matters that you take those mistakes and you say, okay, what have I done wrong here and what can I do to improve in the future? Our reaction to the mistakes is what's important, not the number of mistakes that we make, okay? It doesn't matter if you fail something. It doesn't matter if you're terrible at something. It matters if you give up right away, all right? So try to, again, shift your way of thinking about your mistakes. I know that in a lot of cultures, in a lot of families, it's normal that if you make a mistake, it's bad. You cannot make a mistake. It's not fine, right? However, as an adult English learner, you are now in control of your learning process. You are in control of this journey, and it doesn't matter if you make a mistake. Nothing will happen, okay? So instead, just embrace those mistakes as part of the journey. Next, reflect on your past success. Now, this is not something that you have to do every single day. However, if you feel like you're kind of stuck with your English or you've lost a little bit of confidence, maybe you're out of practice, depending on where you are in your English journey, some reflection will really, really help you. People don't naturally look back on their journey and see how far they've come. A lot of times as adults, we focus on the future. We focus on where we're trying to get. We focus on our end goal, but we don't think about our progress and we don't think about our journey. And sometimes when we are too focused on the end goal, like being fluent in English or speaking English perfectly, this is a big goal. It takes time and it can hurt our confidence not realizing how far we've come. So if you feel like your confidence could use a boost or you feel a little bit stuck, it's a great practice or a great exercise to take a minute, think about times you were proud of yourself with your English, times that you were successful with your English, okay? And that will help to build your confidence up. Next, slow down a little bit, okay? Now, a lot of times when we're nervous, we tend to speak quickly. This happens when we're in a serious conversation or discussion. This might happen in a job interview, in a meeting with your boss. Anytime you're nervous, a lot of us tend to speak fast so that we can just finish the conversation, we can get through it, and it's done, okay? Now, if you're nervous or you're not feeling confident and you start off by speaking quickly, you will continue speaking quickly, okay? And your listener or your audience will kind of struggle to follow you in some cases. The benefit of slowing your speech down a little bit is that it gives you a chance to think. It gives you a chance to physically calm your body and calm your nerves down when you are not feeling confident, when you're feeling nervous, and when you're feeling stressed. And if you start off strong like this, you will continue that way, okay? And you will feel more calm and more confident and more in control when you're speaking. Slowing down your speech also gives you a chance to more clearly articulate your ideas, your words, improve your pronunciation. There's lots and lots of benefits, and all of those things will contribute to you being more confident. Now, this tip is actually one that I personally learned in a public speaking course that I did, and it was very helpful for me. When I was nervous, I had a tendency to speak quickly and kind of rush through what I was saying. And to be honest, I didn't know that I was doing it. And I know a lot of English language learners do this as well. So it's something that I always kind of point out and teach to my students, and it really does go a long way. A lot of times I get comments that I speak so clearly and it's so easy to understand me. And to be honest, I am not really changing my speech much in these lessons and in these videos because I want you to hear natural speech and natural conversation. But I have slowed my speech down in general, even when I'm having a discussion with my friends or my family. I want to be clear, I want to be thoughtful, and I want to be intentional about what I'm saying. And that's much easier to do when you learn to slow your speech a little bit. So this is especially helpful for those of you who tend to speak fast naturally. And finally, try to have some fun. Try to practice your English in situations that are interesting to you. Talk about topics you like, do activities you like, talk to people that you like. When you are enjoying yourself, you're not stressed, you're more relaxed, and you naturally feel more confident. This is a simple one, but it does go a long way. A lot of adult English learners feel like they have to be serious all the time, they have to be studying all the time, and that's simply not the case. You really need to enjoy the process of whatever you're doing, and your confidence will naturally increase. So those are just a few of the practical ways that you can improve your communication and your confidence in English. Now, I know that it's not easy and it doesn't come naturally to everyone, especially if you're a shy person. But before I became a teacher, I was not nearly as confident as I am now. So I'm guaranteeing you, I'm promising you that if you put in the effort, confidence is something that you can learn, that you can improve, that you can build, even if it doesn't come naturally to you. So if you have any other tips or tricks for building your confidence, please do share those with us in the comments. If you enjoyed today's lesson, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share this lesson with other people that it will help. If you do these things, it will really help the channel to grow and reach other English learners all around the world. So thank you for watching, learning, and spending time with me today. I will see you very soon in another one.